Welcome into the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Range Total Body Fuel. Neal, it's Tyler.
What it is.
How are you?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I hope I don't smell bad. I went to the gym and got my run in. I didn't get my lift in, so I didn't shower because I want to go back and get my lift in after I write a basketball story. So, hope it's okay.
Well, we'll join it because I went and got mine in and did not shower either. So
Oh, then we'll stink together.
yeah, it'll fade itself out. So,
Did you have a good weekend?
dude, I was laid back.
Yeah.
Laid back.
Yeah. We had people over on Friday night. My cousin Mike was in from Tulsa. He and his wife and their daughter, Cambridge, who's works in D.C., works for Senator Langford, his office. They were here for double decker. And my parents came over Friday night, and my sister-in-law, Elizabeth, and her husband got here late. I didn't make it up for that. I'm still asleep. I fell asleep. Got up, did the 10K thing, and then I just chilled Saturday. I kind of got home, took a shower, realized I wasn't going anywhere the rest of the day. I put on sweats and just bummed.
Yeah. I got up and cut the grass Saturday, or drove my wife to the race. So I drove her, dropped her off. I did not have to run.
You were going to run, weren't you?
Allegedly. I was going to monitor Knox as he ran. I wasn't really going to try to run. But he decided he didn't want to do it. So got out of that. So I came home, cut the grass, and then I was halfway through cutting the grass when my wife, she just ran home. They came home from the race. I didn't go back and get her. So, because we live about 2 miles from the square. So
she just added that to her run and made it her day.
I guess.
Yeah.
She showed up. She came back. She came home. So it was good.
She win?
No. She did good, though.
Yeah.
For not training. I think she finished. Oh, she sent me a text. I think 11th, maybe, in the 5K. She didn't do the 10K. She's hurt. She was hurting yesterday, though.
There was a bunch of people. I don't know how many ran in the 5K. It was like 400 and something ran the 10K.
She said there were over 1,000 runners.
People. Yeah. There's a ton of people.
Yeah, I did not. I went. We'll talk about it in a minute, but I went to the baseball game Saturday and Sunday.
Did you?
Got rained on. Took the kids. The boys wanted to go.
The weather yesterday was spectacular.
It's great yesterday.
Yeah, it's great today too. They should have played today, just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Weather this good, you should just play a game.
Just keep playing.
Yeah.
Now there's nothing going on. Braves are playing on TV, but they're in New York, so NASCAR race is on right now.
So you're missing all sorts of stuff to do.
Aren't you upset? I'm doing good though. I did my fantasy lineups for NASCAR, and I had William Byron at 5% on. He's led like 200 laps, so I'm gonna make money today. Oh, I'm actually 5th in one of my deals.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm making a little money today.
That's good. All right, we'll get rolling.
Let's do it. You said I'm rolling with today.
Oh, you're doing the Inferno.
Red Dragon.
You must have like big plans for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because I keep the metabolism hot.
That adrenaline will be coursing through my veins if I drink that stuff at
it's
2.
It's on right now.
I almost had one. Almost did one pre-race, but I woke up. I was like, I feel okay. I'm not gonna mess with it.
You'd run like a 4-minute mile.
I did. I would be concerned that I would take off and like sprint.
They would have tested you for PEDs.
Yeah. I did. I tell you this. I told Chase this morning, but it was funny. There aren't a lot of good things about being the old bald guy, except like on race days and stuff. The young guy looks to his left or his right, and he sees old bald guy kind of right there, and he's like, "Oh, I can't let him pass me." And he starts to kind of speed up, and then you realize he's speeding up to a place he's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's going to catch him in just a minute. And then you see it sort of catch him, and then you just kind of pass by him. Don't say a word.
I did gaslight my wife a little bit on the way to the race. We were getting closer, and we saw these 2 aged ladies that were walking up with their
veterans.
Yes. Walking up. Uh-huh. And I was like, there's no way you're going to let them beat your ass. It's not happening. It's not happening. Because she's very competitive. Yeah. She just needs a little bit of, once you get, then it's over. She gets pissed. So anyway.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
I'm not particularly competitive in that environment. Had I known like what the times I was shooting for Had I known there was a time to be shooting for, I think I would have looked down halfway and gone, "Oh, I got a shot here," and kicked it, and I'd be paying for it today with nothing to gain. So
So did you get a participation medal?
I did get everybody gets a medal at those things. The people that crack me up, which is most everybody who immediately put it on and wear it for like hours. Like,
Yeah.
it's just come on.
Wear it to dinner that night?
Yeah, it's just a medal. Come on. If you finished, you got it, right? That was like, there were times I would remind myself when I was really running like in a marathon or something. It was like, hey, don't kill yourself here. The medal you get for running 4:03 is the same one you get for 3:57. It's not worth it. Chill out.
Same one. Unless it comes with a check, it doesn't matter.
What is Gigi running a sub 9-minute mile is solo F? What does that mean?
Hell if I know.
I don't know. I think I ran an 8:33 was my average Saturday.
That's impressive, dude.
Which is good. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm impressed.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
Welcome into another edition of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey. We're back. We're not going to be, solid, he meant. Okay, I said solo, and I was trying to figure out the F. Solid. Thanks. Appreciate that. It was pretty solid. I was pretty pleased with my time. It's brought to you by Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
I don't know if it's possible, but every time I crack one of these red dragons open,
Mm-hmm.
it gets better and better every time.
It's my favorite, and I like multiple. But now, if you told me I just got to have one go to, I think that's my guy.
The new rainstorms are really good. All four of them are really good. I like the peach nectarine probably the best after I've gone through them once. Then I'm going orange, grape, and then kiwi. But they're all really good. Like they're all really good. Like Red Dragon would be up there with them. But dude, the new rainstorms are they're good.
I'm orange then grape.
Orange then grape.
Orange then grape.
Okay.
I'm not a big peach guy.
Really?
I've told you this.
Yeah.
As a kid, I picked peaches, and
makes you ruin the taste.
I think the PTSD from just when I see the word peach, hear the word peach, think anything peach, all I think about is like the working conditions picking peaches, and I just don't really have any interest.
I think I have some I know I do. I have some PTSD from working in the grocery store as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like legit. Like if I go down we were assigned aisles, right, to stock on Sunday mornings.
Of course.
And, my dad gave me two choices. He said, you're going to work during college, or you're going to work during high school. So I chose the high school route.
Smart.
Which really sucked, by the way, though. Waking up on Saturday morning at 6 o'clock when you played a football game the night before and you're hurting. But I did it. And we did Saturday and Sunday morning I had to be there at 7 and stock the shelves, right, because the truck came in. I saw some things at the grocery store. I did that for 4 years. That I have to this day PTSD about. Like weird one is I had for like a year and a half. I had the detergent aisle.
Oh,
and so the first PTSD was opening up the boxes with a box cutter and getting my ass ripped because I sliced through the top of the detergent. Because they're so tight in there. So that was bad. But the smell of all of the bounce sheets, the dryer sheets. Just it makes me nauseous.
Really?
Yeah. To this day, if I walk down that aisle, I will get nauseous at my stomach. And then the worst of worst things was working the dairy cabinet, and you had to go through and get all the old stuff, like take it off the some curdled things and just out of date stuff.
Yeah.
And we would put them in the cooler in the back for 3 months. Okay, 3 months. So we take it off the shelf. It's already old. And we put it in the cooler for 3 months. And then every 3 months, it was like literally 4 times a year on a Sunday afternoon, we'd have to go in there and get that old stuff out, open up the package, empty this, whatever its contents were, in a 55-gallon drum. And a local farmer would come pick those drums up and feed them to his pigs.
Oh.
But go empty out like, 4-month-old milk,
No.
yogurt, cheese. Like you have to open the package because we would take those packages, put it back on the truck, and the owner would get some of his money back. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
It's bad, dude. It's as bad as you can imagine.
To pick peaches, at least back in the day, maybe it's changed now. You had to have every piece of skin on your body possible covered because of the insecticides.
Oh yeah.
And so this is Louisiana in the summer. And so I would wear jeans, socks, shoes, long sleeve t-shirt, gloves. Usually would put like a wristband or something on the t-shirt over the glove because that way it would stop the sleeve from rolling up. And then you'd get a towel and you'd put the towel around your neck.
Nice and cool.
Yeah. Or you'd put the towel like as a baseball cap, like underneath a cap, but your face would still get exposed. And the thing you always had to be cognizant of was the fuzz and stuff and the insecticides and stuff are on your gloves, right? Because you're picking the peaches. And if you start sweating, and you do in Louisiana wearing that much clothing, and you wipe your face,
it's over.
E1. And then it's done. And so you make that mistake, 20 times. And then after a while, you just don't ever anymore. And then the sweat's just in your eyes. And
you wear like headbands and all kinds of stuff to keep out your eyes?
I would put I got to where.
When you had hair?
I had hair. I know, back in the good old days. I kind of got to where I did like almost a turban style. I hope that's not offensive. I put a towel and then I wrapped the headband around it.
Okay.
And I would keep as much of it on my face as possible, the towel.
There you go. It's not bad.
We figured out all sorts of fixes.
Yeah.
I mean, we rigged it where like you could tape the towel down to your face where it would cover it, like right here, and you just had your eyes.
Dude, you had it down. Sunglasses covering it up.
Oh yeah. Or sunglasses for sure. Always.
Dude, that's good stuff.
Even if it was raining, you wore sunglasses.
So Saturday we were talking about right before we went. I went. Kids wanted to go, so I go, and which is I know the Ole Miss fans are very upset that listen to our show about the baseball season, but the worse the baseball season gets, the better, easier it is to get tickets. So I always do like the Vivid Seats or Game Time app or something, at last minute to get tickets. And so Saturday I got tickets right on the third base line, row one. It was really cool. One of the catchers, Georgia catchers, came out, gave Knox the ball walking by. So it was cool.
Cool.
But it was just raining, and it was miserable because it was like 60 degrees, and it was just raining. So it was miserable. We left like 6:10 or whatever, right? And so wake up Sunday, it's a beautiful day, right? So gorgeous day.
Mm-hmm.
So go to church, went to 11 o'clock service at church, get out like 12:30, whatever it was, and the game started at 1:30.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, hey, it's a beautiful day outside. We didn't have anything really to do. No baseball this weekend.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Dad, will you take us to the game? So I was like, yeah, sure. I'll look at it. So, dude, I get on Vivid Sports, not a sponsor, and they have a seat map where it shows you the sections that all these tickets are available.
Okay.
So I look, Knox loves sitting on the front row, right there because the players going by and all that stuff.
Sure, of course.
He thinks he's going to get a ball every time. So I see section 1, which is the very last section down the right field line on the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I click it, and there's seats that come up. And so they're $5 a ticket. I'm like, hey, I'm all over this. So I got, it was me and Brock and Knox, so my middle and my youngest son. So I hit the 3 tickets, whatever, and eat lunch and change clothes. And it takes about 5-10 minutes for them to deliver the tickets to you. And usually they put them in the app. And so you just hit tickets and they pop up there, right? Well, nothing was there. It just said your tickets have been delivered. Check your email. I'm like, well, this is weird. This is strange. It's never done this before. I've done this for all kinds of sporting events. Hell, I did it in Vegas, right? When we went to the hockey deal.
Yeah.
Do it all the time, everywhere. And so I open up my email, and sure enough, I get a thing. It says, I shall not name your name, but a person's name, and I recognize the name, has transferred you tickets. It's never told me who was transferring me tickets. And I'm like, but I recognize the name as a booster at Ole Miss. Okay.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, that's weird. Thinking of it, I go to click to accept my tickets. Well, it sends me to the Ole Miss, like inside Ole Miss. I have to register for an account with Ole Miss to get these tickets. And so I'm like, I've never had to do this, but I did it. And sure enough, hey, the tickets show up. Would you like to add them to your Apple Wallet? Sure. So all these extra steps I've never had to do. Mind you, I've done this 100 times, probably. Easy. And I'm just, whatever. And we get ready to go. I get in the car and I just click just to make sure that they're in the Apple Wallet. And I noticed the tickets are in Club 4111. And I'm like, I did not buy tickets. I bought them in this section 1. So I've never been out there. That's the right field section they put up behind the.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what is that?
So
Go ahead.
It's a temporary, looks like a temporary, it is temporary, but
It's the second deck.
Second deck out there in the right field.
Yeah.
But it's like.
I saw it on TV the other day.
It's, free drinks, free food, the whole deal. It's very similar to the Dugout Club just out there.
Okay.
Or the Diamond Club. And I was like, well, I have no idea even how to get out there, right? I mean, I've worked here a while. And so I was like, I guess we'll go in like student section. So I go over there. The lady's like, yeah, you're going to Club 4111. Yep, just go down here and take a left. So I walk down there and guy scans my tickets. Well, I go to walk up and there's Ole Miss people that work at Ole Miss. They're giving me the stink eye, man, as soon as I walk up. And I'm like, all right. I didn't say anything. They were like, name on the ticket, sir. I said, I have no idea. It's like, what do you mean you have no idea? And I said, I don't know. I just bought these tickets. Well, who did you buy them from? So I didn't buy them from anybody. I bought them from Vivid Seats. Like, dude. So I did not rat you out. I just want to let you know, I did not rat you out. They were trying to get the person. I don't think they're supposed to resell those tickets.
Oh.
And they were pissed. I did not rat them out though.
So what happened? Did you
knew
sit up there, or did y'all go?
No, hell yeah. Went up there and ate a second lunch, and had some drinks and sat in the outfield and watched the game.
Okay. Hell of a game.
Great game. We left in the eighth inning.
Yeah.
But I missed I got to watch the rest of it on TV. I didn't want to fight the crowd. Brock's all still dinged up, so my wife came and picked us up. But they were high key pissed. Like they almost didn't let us up there because they're not supposed to resell.
They probably realized that you didn't know that you'd done something wrong.
No, I didn't do anything. I mean, I said, well, that's funny. I said, I thought I was buying a ticket in that section right there. I mean, I literally click on the map and it gives you the deals, and somehow they were registered under that section. So yeah, there you go. How about that?
Did you say I am Tyler Siskey?
No, I did not. You
should have.
No, I didn't know who they were.
No, I'm kidding.
I didn't know. Sometimes I know who they are. Like I know JT James Taylor that works in the front. I know a lot of those guys. I don't ever do that. That's not my thing.
No. I was kidding.
I know, but I don't. Like I didn't make a scene. But they were low key pissed that I was up in there because you're not supposed to resell those tickets. And I guess they sold 200 and something of them. There was 40 people there. So I'd be interested to see what they'll if they find out who it was. But I did not rat them out.
And you knew a name, so you could have.
I have a name right here on my phone in my email.
You could have routed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm curious now.
Yeah, I know the name.
Is it a name I'd know? Probably not.
Probably.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't think I know most of them. I know obviously a few. I mean, I've got some sources and stuff, but
I knew this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. Good seats. It was row 1.
That's good. That's good. It's a hell of a game. Yeah. Great day for a baseball game.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
I had it on in here because I was working on 10 Thoughts, and I was watching the NBA games. I watched Knicks Heat, and then Kings Warriors, and I was watching the Cubs, who lost 3 one-run games to the Marlins over the weekend. Where like bases loaded, nobody out, score 1 run. Bases loaded, 1 out, double play.
No crooked numbers.
Double play. No crooked numbers ever. Just. It was like madly frustrating watching that series.
Yeah. I didn't, dude, it was laid back, man. NASCAR got rained out yesterday, so they're on today. Golf this week was the worst tournament of the year as far as people in it, like Tony Finau and John Rahm, but they were so far ahead of everybody. It was boring. Braves got rained out Saturday and Sunday. UFC had a laid down fight night because they have a pay-per-view this weekend. Yeah, it was laid back, man. Double Decker showed up. All right, my wife wanted to go to Double Decker, so we drove and found a place to park. I literally, because I parked behind Nukes, I got a little spot back there. I parked, so I parked there, and we literally walked to where the stage was, turned around, came back, got in the car, and left. Because the food trucks were closing. I wanted to go. I'd like to go eat all the crazy food stuff. By the time we get there, like 5:30, I guess 5:36, and they were all closing.
I finished running and tried to cool off for a minute, change shirts, and then my sister-in-law had a booth. So I walked up there and saw her and hung out for a few minutes, and then I was like, yeah, I'm done. I went back home, and I literally got home, and I was not a productive person on Saturday. I told myself, yeah, I'll work ahead on 10 Thoughts a little bit. I did not write a word. Unproductive.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, I got a question for you.
Okay.
I meant to talk about this the other day, and we got going on something. I got to get the Neal McCready opinion on this.
All right.
Apparently, I learned something new this past week, that the Tooth Fairy does wholesales. So the Tooth Fairy came to my house last week.
Okay.
And Noxie did not get full value for his tooth because it had a cavity in it. Have you ever heard of this?
I have never heard this. I'm interested. Go ahead.
Yeah. So normally, Tooth Fairy at my house, depending on what the Tooth Fairy's wallet looks like at that time.
What is the going rate for the Tooth Fairy now? Because when the Tooth Fairy visited our house back in the day, it was never a ton of money.
Yeah. So at my house,
I mean, a $5 tooth.
I'd say average 5 to 10 at my house, depending on what's in depending on what the Tooth Fairy is carrying at the time.
Sure.
It has gone up to 20 before, because he just didn't have any other options at that time, I don't think.
Are you saying the Tooth Fairy couldn't make change?
Correct.
I understand.
Because there's a late decision on the Tooth Fairy's part to show up. But last week the Knox rolled in with had to get a tooth pulled.
Okay.
Because he had a cavity issue. So instead of getting a root canal, he had to get a tooth pulled because he loves him some sweets. He doesn't eat anything but chicken nuggets, yogurts, and anything with sugar in it. That's what he eats. All right. That's what he survives on: chicken nuggets, yogurt, and sweets. So the Tooth Fairy rolled.
And when you say yogurt, you mean the sweetened yogurt?
I mean, it's like Noosa. I don't know what kind of yogurt that is. It's like and it's only one flavor. It's blueberry. That's it.
Okay.
All right. Like breakfast for him is a chocolate chip pancake. That's breakfast. I mean, it's got to have, it's a dessert is, cinnamon rolls, anything you consider donuts. I mean, it's quasi Pop-Tarts, quasi dessert / breakfast. That's my man here.
All right.
And then, we felt accomplished yesterday. We got him to eat a peanut butter sandwich and Doritos for lunch.
Oh.
My wife will sneak some apples on there or something, but I have no idea how the kid stays alive, but he does. He's the third kid too. He has no chance. All right. So, anyway, got the tooth pulled. Man, he got $1, man. Tooth Fairy left him $1. When I think there were other options available.
Damaged goods.
Damaged goods. Did you know this was a thing?
I did not, but lesson learned.
Yeah.
I mean, Tooth Fairy's not going to pay big money for a damaged tooth that she can't turn around and
resell, I guess.
And, and get her investment worth. There's a return on investment.
Yeah. Tooth Fairy is definitely in the NIL, I guess, right now, right?
Was he pissed?
No, he thinks, I mean, it might as well have been $100. That's the other thing I tried to explain about the Tooth Fairy. The Tooth Fairy, what parents don't realize.
So Noxie's basically a college football player.
Yes. Yeah,
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He's getting his.
He has no idea what the money is. No. It's just money.
It's just money, man. It doesn't even, the amount is just is secondary. He's like, look at here, I got $1, and then he's like, $20. Look at here, I got $20. He doesn't know the difference. I mean, it's great. It's like I got mad at him the other day because so Saturday. He got overly pissed because he kept wanting to go. He was like killing me at the concession stand, dog. I mean, just. I went one time. It was like $35. I was like peanut M&Ms, Reese's Pieces, popcorn. I mean, nothing of substance. And just like, I mean, it's bad. Concession stands prices are getting up there,
Yeah.
inflation's hit them.
Yeah.
And then so I finally cut him off. I was like, that's it. I'm not going back. Like he was like, you go get a Coke? No, I'm not getting a Coke. No, we're not going back. And so he went into his jar and brought a $20 bill Sunday. He was going to get his own stuff. And I said, no, we're not doing that. I said, if we go to the concession stand, I'll get to you. You're not going to spend money at the concession stand. And he takes the $20 and just throws it in the truck. I said, that's just, they don't understand, man.
He's a football player.
He's
Might
a
as
football
well.
player.
Or a basketball player.
Might as well be, right?
Austin, thanks for the super chat. He says, I have a new idea for punishment for the new football season. The loser this season has to go to the spring Talladega race in a Biden shirt and Dukes. No.
That's not recommended by the safety crew.
In an election year? No.
No, that would be like I tried to. My wife didn't know this. You know the chant. Y'all bet you didn't know this. The "Let's Go Brandon" chant.
Yeah,
started at Talladega. That's where it started. That's where it originated.
That's where the guy won the race.
Yeah. So Brandon Jones was,
and the female reporter.
She goes, "Look, they're saying, let's go Brandon," and they were really saying, F Joe Biden.
Oh, gotcha.
So
that is how that got started.
That's how it got started at Talladega. So yeah, probably not the best spot for that.
No, not a good spot. Not happening.
But over under of Trump flags at Talladega was like 6,000. That was over under.
Probably over.
Yeah, it was. They were everywhere.
That's his crowd.
That's it. Those are his people.
No doubt.
Before we get going to the football stuff, I did want to say something else. And it's really cool. Good friend of mine. I think you know him too, Dusty Rutledge, that was here with us at Ole Miss. Has been with Rich Rod pretty much everywhere, every stop from West Virginia to Michigan to Arizona, Monroe. He's the chief of staff at Jacksonville State, and he finished his cancer treatment. Obviously didn't say anything public about it because I didn't know if he wanted it public, but they tweeted it out or whatever. But finished his cancer treatment. I think it was on Thursday or Friday, and just a dude. He's a dude's dude. He is as good as they come. He is hilarious. You can't find somebody that doesn't like this guy, and very happy for him. Been battling that for about 4, 5, 6 months now, so it's good.
Yeah, always good to get the last one.
Yes,
and to feel like maybe you hope that is the last one.
Yes. Yeah. But he's just a stud, man. He's a good guy. And that made my day the other day. So
that's awesome. That's great news.
Yep. I knew you knew him. So
yeah. All right. So the draft is done. Any big takeaways from? You're probably like me. After Thursday night, I was a little drafted out after 4 hours of draft. I didn't spend.
Dude, that was a long ass show.
That was a long show. I didn't spend a lot of time watching the draft. I kept up with it a little bit, probably not as much as you did. On Friday, actually, I take that back. I didn't keep up with it Friday at all. I actually looked at it on Saturday a little bit when I was just laying on the couch flipping channels.
I pulled up the ticker on my phone every once in a while to see who had been drafted. I did not watch the draft. I watched maybe the first 2 or 3 picks on Friday night and then got off of it. But after talking to people over the weekend, and I know there's going to be draft grades come out on all these people that don't know anything about football, I found out that our Houston Texans were playing chess where everybody else was playing checkers. So when I was very surprised the other night that Houston took C.J. Stroud second and then traded and got to the 3rd pick, per sources, I knew that Tennessee was more than prepared to make an offer to trade up to 3 to get C.J. Stroud, to where it was basically done between Arizona and Tennessee. Because when we talked with my source on Thursday morning, Houston was going to take Will Anderson and then try to maybe trade up and get somebody around, move up a little bit from that 12 spot and get somebody. And so they were trying to get a deal done with Arizona, but they were wanting way too much.
Okay.
And they didn't want to do it. So Houston, instead of going Will Anderson with 2, pulled the trigger on C.J. Stroud to take their competition for that 3rd spot because they knew Arizona wanted to trade. Arizona wanted Paris Johnson from Ohio State. That's who they wanted. They knew they could wait a little bit to get him. And so they said, fine. They just took C.J. Stroud, and so the people who wanted C.J. Stroud to trade with 3 were no longer in the game. That's why they took C.J. Stroud second, was to basically guarantee that they were the only suitors for 3.
Got you.
They took everybody else out by taking C.J. Stroud second.
Oh, smart.
I mean, that's smart. Now, they gave a lot of way to do it.
They did.
Um,
But now look, you know where I feel about this. If you're a franchise, and after all of the study and all of the research and all of the meetings and all of the analysis,
yep.
if you believe that that guy is your guy, if you believe it, go do it.
Yeah.
Go get him. And because look, it's a scoreboard business. You're either going to win and be confirmed, or you're going to lose. And if you're going to lose on your terms.
Yeah.
Lose on your decisions. Don't lose and look back and go, you know what, I wish if only we had. No. We believed in C.J. Stroud. That's who we wanted. We went and got him. And if it doesn't work out, yeah, you're going to get fired. But how much is this worth? I don't know. Peace of mind, I think it's worth something. To be able to walk out going, you know what, he didn't turn out. We thought he would. The whole room did. We were convicted.
Yeah.
We believed in him.
I knew going into the draft, I say going in 2 weeks ago, that they were okay with either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. I knew that. I didn't know what was going on closer to the draft with as far as they were concerned there. But like I said, that one's like, I mean, I was pretty much told that was done, you know, that was going to happen. That's why I was shocked. That one got me. But look, you got to give credit. Was it Casario, whatever, from New England? He went out and he knew what he wanted. He went to go and he paid for it. So they're going to be missing from the first round for a little while because of it. But unless they make some other trade or get rid of somebody. But which brings me to the next one. All right, so not really talked about because of when it happened. And we knew with the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs so early, there was an odd man out there, right? And DeAndre Swift gets traded. So you got the Houston Texans going to 3 to get Will Anderson, who we think is going to be a great player.
Be shocked if he's not.
Okay.
Yep.
They gave up, 3 first rounds and or 2 first rounds and a second and a third. I mean, they gave up a lot. Meanwhile, DeAndre Swift, the Eagles get DeAndre Swift, and really the only thing that they cost them, they swapped 7th-round picks, whoop-de-freaking-do, and they got a 4th-round pick in 2025. 2 years from now, they're going to get a 4th-round pick for this trade. So the Eagles were able to go get a guy that's already proven to be a running back 1 in the NFL. And I know if you're not an avid NFL fan, you don't know a lot about DeAndre Swift, but the guy is a fantasy football dream. He's a threat to catch 6-7 balls out of the backfield every week, carry the ball 10, 11 times. He's going to get between 15 and 20 touches and put up 100-something yards a week. That's just what he's going to do. And he's an elite player when he's healthy. He's been healthy for a good bit now. That's why but he's been starting at running back there for, his first 2 years. And a little bit of that was a salary cap move, I guess you could say, because he's coming up on the last year of his contract. But he's going to get paid regardless. You're not going to want to get rid of the guy, but you're able to get a premier running back that's already proven to be a premier running back in this league. Not a bust, not going to be a bust. He's 24 years old. And you're getting him at 24 years old for basically a 4th-round pick in 2 years. It blows my mind sometimes in the NFL where you can make these trades that are for nothing and get a established premier player at his position versus drafting a guy and hoping the shit works out. It blows my mind why we do that. Is it caught up in a moment? Is it emotion? I don't know what it is, man.
I don't know. Like I've told you, the NFL's fascinating to me because of the amount of analysis that goes into the draft. Just the amount of time that goes into the draft. And then there it is. You have to make a decision. And if they believe Jahmyr Gibbs is a better player, enough to move up and to swap and all those things, then you do it.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is a dude. Don't get me wrong, but like, God almighty, that's just crazy. I will say this: I guess that would have been the second day or the third day stuff that probably surprised me the most. It surprised a lot of people in the industry. Was Stetson Bennett going in the 4th round to the Rams? No one including Stetson or his representation, expected him to even get drafted. He had a rough last couple months.
He did, but
4th round to the Rams. He was like the kid from Fresno went 1 pick before him. Hefner.
Hefner.
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
I think so. I don't know.
Look, we've talked about Bennett a lot. He won. He made lots of plays.
Oh, yeah.
He's got limitations, got ego and attitude for days. If you told me that Stetson Bennett ended up being kind of this draft's Gardner Minshew, I totally buy it.
Yeah, no, there
And if that's the case,
it was the other things,
yeah.
right?
But if that's the case, he's worth a 4th round pick.
I think if there were the other things, right? And then, dude, I mean, but a 4th round pick, holy shit! That, I guess the point was is they could have waited probably the 6th and got him. I don't think there was I don't think anybody else was taking him. But look, Les Snead, the GM from the Rams, is a good dude. I know him personally. I mean, he GM'd his way to a Super Bowl by giving away picks. They don't have they haven't had draft picks for a while. Now they're in salary cap hell. They're in trouble. They're going to pay the price for it. I was almost shocked a little bit that they didn't do something to get younger at quarterback. Like, I was almost surprised they didn't jump up and try to get Will Levis in the 2nd round, which obviously Tennessee did.
Behind Stafford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about that time, boss. It's about that time.
Maybe they just decided they want to do Georgia quarterback again. I mean,
it's working for Philly.
The Eagles have decided to
all right, how about
become
this?
Georgia North.
In the last 2 years, Philadelphia has now drafted five of the starting 11 in the 2021 year on the defense.
Why not? It's a great defense. I mean,
well, N'Kobe hardly ever played last year. He didn't play much. But they got 5 dudes on that defense in the National Football League.
Look, Jalen Carter is potentially the steal of the draft.
Yeah, he's going to be.
Going 9th overall.
This is going to be like a Randy Moss. This is going to be a Laramie Tunsil. This is the same.
I mean,
this is stupid that he fell that far.
I mean, just a phenomenal player.
And then they go and get DeAndre Swift, so I guess they technically added 6 guys. So, you know what I mean? They're turning into I got a couple guys at the office that are from Georgia, and they're calling them the Philadelphia Bulldogs.
They're the Eagles. They're Eagles fans now.
Yeah, now they got to be Eagles fans. But it's, you know.
I mean, if you're a big-time Georgia fan, that's kind of by default becoming your team, right?
I mean, you almost have to. I mean, I don't know. Really, if you're an SEC fan, I mean, they got Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. I mean, they're adding.
See, to me, that is the power of the league. And if you know this, you coached in it twice. If you can play in the SEC, you're going to get an opportunity in the NFL, because even the NFL views the SEC as kind of their AA team.
Yeah, they had 65 guys drafted this year. The Big Ten had, I saw the numbers. It was 40 or 50 or something, and then the third closest was like 29. So they basically doubled the third. You know, between them and the Big Ten, they were damn near all the draft picks.
It's almost like that's what's coming. The 2 big leagues, the Big Ten and the SEC. It's almost like it's predictable. It's like there's a story that's out today, yesterday. I lose track of days over the course of the weekend, but the Big Ten's playing chess right now.
Yeah.
With the Pac-12. They're just watching. They think the Pac-12 is going to fall apart and that they can get Oregon and Washington at a discount. And so they're just going to wait. They're not going to take them at full price. They're going to get them at a $40 million discount, which will still be more money than those schools would have gotten if they stayed in the Pac-12. And they believe that those 4 border schools, Colorado, Arizona State, Utah, are going to go to the Big 12, and that's going to break up the Pac-12 and let it fall apart, and they'll get those 2 schools at a discount and figure it out from there. And they're probably right.
Yeah, no, they are. I mean, just at some point in time, there's got to be some kind of logistics to take that have to make sense, because the trial, it's not football. Football will be fine. Football always is king, and all that stuff will be fine. But as an athletic department, I mean, watch. I mean, UCLA's got plenty of money. USC's got plenty of money. Watch baseball and basketball and women's tennis and the amount of volleyball, the amount of money,
just stuff
and travel. And because, like, I remember this. So when I was at Arkansas State and we were in the Sun Belt, I remember Denver and Idaho were in the Sun Belt. And just the logistic, football again, going to be fine.
Yeah, it's just once every so often. Make a flight, get back.
But, like, I remember the basketball team at Denver. I remember them, and just thinking about trying to be a student athlete, because it's actually about being a student athlete at that level, right? But I remember them allegedly, but basketball would, like, they would play like Thursday, Saturday, and then but they would go and play like Middle Tennessee, drive to Arkansas State, and then go play Little Rock, like do these little bus swings, fly into Nashville, fly out of Little Rock, but go and, like, just be gone for a week. It's almost like when you're, a Michigan or a Purdue or the Big Ten baseball teams early in the season. Hell, they leave and they don't come home for a month. They go play all the schools in the South, so the weather's good enough to play baseball in first of college baseball. But I think you're going to see the same problems travel-wise. I mean, I got buddies that are at West Virginia and talking about how difficult that is playing in the Big 12, in recruiting and football especially.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just you're out of your footprint. It just makes things difficult. So that's the part that I think we could do a little bit better job of, this realignment stuff. But it's not about that anymore. It's about
money.
About money, boss. But
I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts. I mean, we're not going to get into it right now. But talking to people, I talked to people at 5 schools. Kind of one was kind of off the record. It's really 4, but kind of 5. And the numbers that are right now required to build a basketball roster.
You talking about financial numbers?
I'm talking about the salary numbers to buy players.
Okay.
I refuse to say NIL. There is no NIL freaking L. It's just a salary.
PFP.
The PFP numbers that are required to compete, to build a roster, an average roster. Okay.
I'm curious because I don't know.
There are players. There are players. I'm going to be super careful because I don't want to identify anybody at all. There are basketball players in the SEC who are starters, who will never play in the NBA. Never. Making $450 a year. And look, here's the thing. That's fine. Here's the part that I hope, for the kids' sake, there's some education going on. I hope somebody, and again, we're going to get to other things.
Oh, you're good.
But I hope somebody is within these people's ears enough to say, hey, Billy. Kid's name's not Billy. Billy, you're not going to the NBA. It's not going to happen. Because if you were, you'd know, and you're not. You might go overseas and play some, and you might make some money over there. But there's a decent chance that this is the most money per year you'll ever make.
Yep.
Save it. Understand, Billy, that when basketball's done, and look, this applies in football too, in spades.
Yes.
That first job in the real world isn't going to pay $450 or $150, or for a lot of you cats, $50. Because that general studies degree is worthless.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
you're 100% correct.
That general studies degree.
The hell was that?
I don't know. Someone tried to text me, I'm sure. I've got stuff going on. That general studies degree is going to, I don't know what the going rate is to be a barista at Starbucks, but that's roughly where you're starting out.
Yeah.
So understand the money. Understand the money. And I don't know that that's happening because in the player procurement aspect of it, it's just, what do we have to do to get this guy? And what you hear over and over and over from talking to people, and I wrote about this yesterday, I just don't think it resonates. I'm not sure anybody reads anything I write anymore, which is fine too. It's not sustainable.
No.
I mean, I had one guy just go, look, this can't be like this time next year. You can't keep hitting the same people for money. Hey, need 200,000 for this player. Okay, got it. Okay, now need 220 for this player. And everybody's portal. Everybody. Like, no longer can anyone make fun of Lane Kiffin for portal. Everyone, with a handful of exceptions, is just becoming portal dependent.
It's almost like it's going to be a problem.
Oh, it is. It's just not. Well, no, it's not that it's a problem. It's that there has to be a market correction. Because anything, right? If I'm trying to think of a good example. If I go to a restaurant, this isn't a great one. This is the first one on top of my head. If I go to if I go to a clothing store, okay, and I buy a suit, okay, and the suit is $1,500, $2,000.
Nice suit.
Yeah. Oh, it's supposed to be a nice suit. Hold on. I think I found my problem. All right, there we go. I pay $2,000 for the suit. I'm paying for a really nice suit, right?
Yep.
Okay. I get the suit, and I wear it a few times, and it starts to kind of break down. It's not. I find out that it's not really what I paid for.
Okay.
Not great product. Dry cleaner tears it up. Just it's not good. So I go back to get another suit because I need to replace the suit. I got to have a suit. Those suit prices are $2,500 for the same suit. Oh yeah, this will be better. This one's going to work better. That one, just trust me. All right, cool. $2,500. Same problems. I'm probably not going back to that suit. And when they say, "Hey, 25," I'm gonna say, "No, it's not. I didn't get it.
It's 3,000 next time.
It's 3,000. I'll pass. I'm gonna go someplace else. You know what? For that price, I can go buy a cheap suit for $400, and it's gonna be just as good as that. And at least this way, I'll know going in it's gonna suck, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, as opposed to I know I'm gonna be disappointed here. So if you go buy the $2,500 suit, you got to walk everywhere you walk. People are like, man, gosh, you look fantastic. That is incredible. And it holds up and it lasts and it's tapered just right. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's going, oh man, that looks great on you. You look fantastic. And it makes you look a little thinner or a little stronger, whatever you're going for. That's where we are, I think, with college athletics, is I think we're getting to a place. We're not far from it. We're still super early in this pay for play deal. Not the under the table pay for play. This is a lot of money. Average basketball players weren't getting $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 10 years ago.
No.
And don't get me wrong. Get what you can get.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Go get it.
Go get it. But it's a matter of time before the people that are funding this money go, I got to be honest, I'm not getting a return on my investment here. You're the same team that you've been. You're not going any further. You're not any more fun to watch. I don't get anything out of this. I thought maybe I'd get a lot out of this, and I don't. I'm out. Or, hey, and this is more likely, at least initially. All right, so you're asking for this in basketball. Now you're asking for this in football. And now, and this is true in the SEC, you're asking for this in baseball too. Well, I can't do it all. So which one of you guys are going to scratch my back the most? Which one of you guys are going to make me feel like my money is best invested?
Yeah. And all right, so it's where I think it's kind of comical a little bit is, what pattern we're following here? It's the same thing that happened in the black market, just on a different money scale. There were guys whose price got up there, and you're like, hey, it's not worth it. Guy's not worth it.
Yeah.
Not worth it. We can go get this guy, allegedly. Right?
Yeah,
and then you go, and then all of a sudden it's like, when you get a new coach, man, money starts flowing. We got a new coach. You got a new idea, which we're in the middle. Basically, with NIL, everybody's a new coach, right?
Right.
So you got this new deal. Well, now you're having everybody hit on the same time. Everybody's hitting the exact same time. And so if you're not winning games, guess what's happening to your money, boss? It's drying up quick.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's drying up quick.
For sure.
because it's not like you got.
Well, you kind of saw that with Ole Miss basketball. I mean, it dried up on Kermit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it should or shouldn't have or whatever, but it kind of did. And so now there's a little bit more. I'll use Beard as an example. I know kind of the number that was told. And here's how fast the market has moved. I think that number 6 months ago, 8 months ago, would have been a pretty competitive number. And I'm not sure it is now. But at a place like Ole Miss, for example, you can't give, I mean, you can, but getting it year over year is going to be hard.
That's the trick.
Right. Can you get $10 million for football and $3 million for basketball and $2.5 million for baseball 1 year? Yeah, probably. Now, can you do it again? In an economy where inflation's going up, where taxes go up, where the stock market takes a hit, things that you cannot control as a guy running a collective or as an athletics director. I mean, you can control a lot of things, but you probably can't control the worldwide economy.
No, you can't.
And so when 401ks shrivel up, and they are, and people look at it and go, "Hey, I got to pick something here. I can't help you here." I think there's a market correction coming. And I think when it comes, and I think it's coming in the next 24 months, I suspect it's going to be shocking.
Maybe 12.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's going to be shocking to people at how many people go, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm good. You want 100, I'll give you 20.
No, it's going to happen. But there's where I think a lot of the other correction that's going to happen is you're going to have teams that are spending a ton of their money on a very few players. They're going to be in trouble. When you're spending a ton of money on very few players, you're in trouble. Like I know there are some teams, not as many teams as I really thought would do it, but I do know a few teams, the ones that seem to be having success with this, and you can call it what you want to call it.
Okay.
But the teams that seem to be having success with the NIL are the teams that are, like I know one that's doing really well, and they're like, hey, every scholarship player, you're getting $50,000. That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the starting quarterback, now they got a little money set
Is that
to
a
the
Power
side.
5 league?
It is a Power 5.
Okay.
Hey, everybody's getting $50,000. All right. And they got some extra money to the side for maybe starting quarterback or whoever. Mm-hmm. Like they have to go get a guy. Mm-hmm. But everybody's getting 50. And then if you want to go get your own deals or we get your own deals, then that adds on top of that, whatever it is. It helps locker room. It helps everything. But the teams that are struggling, losing players in the portal, or the teams that are going like, hey, we got $1 million. This guy's getting $800,000 of the $1 million. You know, that are the teams because they don't have enough money to spread it along. And then their backup, the guys that, hey, you can't get money for us right now. All right, we can't afford to pay you money out of the collective or whatever it is. They're getting poached by a team that can't afford to pay them.
Yeah.
It's just, that's where all this movement's going on. But I'm glad you said what you said earlier, because I think that's the biggest misconception. We actually, I think we talked about on the show a long time ago. We were talking about NIL. Is what people don't realize is, and it's like you said, it's a ton in football. I mean, how many players did? Since we got all Ole Miss fans on here, how many Ole Miss players got drafted?
Was it 4?
Okay, how many Ole Miss players are getting money through NIL? Football players.
Oh shit.
If you just put a number on it, let's guesstimation.
50.
Okay, so there goes the point.
And I might be way off, by the way.
Maybe.
I don't
Let's
know.
just call it 50 for just complete guesstimations, okay? So we're saying that 46 players are in the situation you're talking about right now, where the most money you're going to make is right now, and then you get a kid so a lot of these kids are trying to do good, whether they're helping their families or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden they go get their first job out of college, they can't afford to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's creating so many issues. But, the thing that really frustrates me is you can't tell. You've been trying to tell the NCAA and everybody about this, but it's like, nobody wants to fix anything till it's completely FUBAR'd. Okay, well, you've reached the FUBAR stage. It's effed up beyond all recognition right now. So, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I wish there were some programs in place, and maybe there are in some places. Like I know that there are multiple collectives around the SEC that are trying desperately to be responsible, to help the people with taxes and all of
Yeah,
that.
most of the big ones are.
But what I would love if they could do for kids, like I think about my kids. I've got my daughter Campbell turns 22 today. Happy birthday, Campbell. You're not listening, but happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We're old.
I've got I know. It hit me this weekend a little bit. Got another daughter that's 20. Okay? Smart kids. Both of them have really high GPAs and tough curriculums and a tough school at their university. The business school's competitive. But if you threw at one of my kids $400,000 in a year right now, I think they'd be a little responsible. And in fairness, if you threw that kind of money at me at 21, at 22,
that's fair.
I'd have been an idiot.
Well, you're taking the bottom 5%. They're making, whenever they come up, they're the bottom 5% of all human beings in the amount of money they're making when they get to college. And you take them, an 18-year-old kid, from the bottom 5% of any money being made by any human being to the top 5% overnight. I mean, it's like Knox, when the $20 bill, right?
Yeah.
They don't recognize the value of it.
Well, the people that are in their lives that are looking for handouts.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And so it's incredibly I wish there was, maybe there is at places, almost like where you put it in a trust, where you put it somewhere where it's going to be where it's going to be there for you when you're 40, where you can, because if you just hand a young person, any young person, a whole bunch of money, they kind of just roll through it. It's gone.
I think it was Rich Rod that brought this up, so I'm going to make sure I give him credit if it wasn't my idea. I think it was Rich Rod's. But it was talking about when all this stuff came up, is to put the money, a vast majority amount of the money, where you keep it at kind of a stipend where he said, let's call it 50. I think this was Rich Rod, so make sure I give credit. Say it was $50,000, right?
Mm.
That's your cap. Anything you make over $50,000 goes in a trust, and the day you graduate, you get that money.
Yes, I think that would be so.
You're making a
so
small amount,
and it kind of protects the kids too, because it lets the kids go, hey, I don't have the money, I don't have access to it.
Correct.
Because there's so many people,
lots of hands
that are when they go home, people that think they just. Someone said in the thread, personal finance 101 should be an absolute requirement. It should be a freshman prerequisite at every school in the country, but it's not.
Joey says that's what Mike Leach said to do. I think, I'm sure he did. There were a few. I'm just talking about, this was years ago when all this stuff started being talked about. I think Rich Rod said that in a meeting. That's where I'm getting it from. I'm sure there's other people I think have said it since.
Oh, there's a lot of people that have really good ideas. It just, I don't know. Anyway, I got us off topic. We're brought to you by Walk On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day with a taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine. Po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs. 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap, especially if you're in Oxford or Jackson. Please stop by the Oxford or Ridgeland Walk-Ons today.
All right, let's move on a little bit. Since it's spring, I got a couple questions over the weekend. Talking about some recruiting advice going on. How do I become a really good player or get recruited, all this stuff. And you can talk yourself in circles. I can do this, do that. At the end of the day, this blows my mind, and it's right off the NFL. The best way to become a really good recruit is to dominate your competition where you're at. If you want to be like a highly recruited kid, how about this? Be the best player on your high school team. Let's start there. What does it take to be the best high school player on your team? Instead of trying to skip all these steps. It's kind of like the NFL draft, right? All of a sudden, this used to drive me nuts, man. And I've told you this before, and you're going to laugh because I've told you this 15 times over the years. It used to drive me nuts, man. Pro day would come around, and there'd be some kid on your team that was like third team, just an average dude, couldn't play dead in a Western. But he thought he was going to train his ass off. He waited till after he's finished playing football to go train his ass off, to eat right, to sleep right, to get really good. And he thinks that he's going to go out there on a pro day and in 50 minutes going to change his life in 50 minutes. When at the end of the day, your film is your resume.
Yep.
So if you're a high school kid, guess what? Your film is your resume. You may go run out a fast track time or fast something like that. Now we're going to turn your film on to watch you. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a great recruit, if you want to be a great NFL player, put your work on film. That's the number one way. You can't skip that step. That just doesn't exist. You have to be able to put it on film that you can do that. But it happens every year. And the last thing, if you're a parent or this is really important, this is more on the parents helping their kids out. I may tell you something you didn't know here. Make sure, especially as you're getting your kid's going to be a sophomore or a junior. The thing that reminded me of this is it's kids are scheduling their classes for next year and things like that, right? Make sure you check the classes that your kid has taken in the math. Okay, so you have to have 3 years of math.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell you. I'd say 85% of the kids that you do transcripts on take Algebra 1A, and then they take Algebra 1B, maybe as a sophomore. But the NCAA only counts that as 0.5 units and 0.5 units. So technically you've taken 2 years of math, but the NCAA only counts it as one. And so a lot of these kids get to their senior year and they don't have enough math credits. So make sure you check your kid's transcript and check and see what they've taken in their math, because they have to have 3 years of math. And you can do it right there on your computer over there.
Mm-hmm.
You can Google NCAA 48H or eligibility standards, whatever it is now, and your school will have their own set of classes that they can put on there. But I cannot tell you how many kids come up and they only have 2 years of math and they got to go cram one, take a online or something late in the year when they become a player. Go ahead and fix that on the front end if you're a parent. Make sure you check your kids' math there. And then got this question. I probably don't know if we have many of these people listening, but if your kid wants to graduate early and enroll in January, I'm against it, by the way. But if your kid wants to do that, the best way to do that is this summer. They're not going to like it, but take the extra English this summer because you have to have 4 years of English. Some schools are counting speech as an English now. Not all schools, but just check your 48H, and if you want to take an extra year in the summer, that's a good way to do that. All right, Neal, do you know what yesterday was?
Yes. It's a good day. It's the end of portal season.
So the portal window has closed.
Yes.
All right, I got some numbers for you.
Okay.
I reached out to some buddies this morning. So it technically has closed. All right, you'll see more guys enter today and tomorrow.
But they had to do their paperwork.
They have 48 hours to basically enter them. So they may have entered their paperwork yesterday, but you may see some trickle out. There have been some trickle out today, and I'm sure there'll be some tomorrow. But as of 8:14 this morning, Neal, there were 1,708 new players in the portal this last window. Football players. 1,708.
I mean, God, I don't want to be old man yelling at clouds, so I'm trying not to be. Let me tell you what there aren't.
What are they not?
There are not 1,708 vacancies.
You want to hear what's active in the portal right now?
Sure.
This is counting the first window and this one.
Mm-hmm.
Active in the portal right now, 6,374 players.
It's really sad. It honestly is really sad. It's an organization that claims to care about the young people shows with that number that they don't care about young people.
Hey,
they care more about being. And look, they're scared of getting sued. In fairness to the NCAA, they're scared of being sued. Okay, let me give them that.
Yep.
If we're going to be transparent and fair, if they have hard, rigid rules and they enforce them, they get sued. And they get very beat up in the court of public opinion because there are so many people in the court of public opinion who are live and let live, laissez-faire as it pertains to this. So I get that. I do. The problem is there are so many guys and girls, but mostly guys. This is mostly a football thing, who have a bad week.
Easy button.
And they jump in the portal, and then there's nowhere to go. And for so many of those guys, it's the only way they can afford to go to college.
Hardman said it. I did the math right when he clicked up there. 75 teams worth of players active in the portal right now.
And there aren't 75 teams worth of vacancies in the portal right now.
No.
And so a lot of guys are SOL. They get in the portal, they get replaced by a high school kid, and you're over. It's done. Your spot's gone. It's what was that game, musical chairs?
Yeah. Chair got pulled out.
They keep pulling the chairs out. And the point of that is that each time one person doesn't have a chair. Imagine musical chairs if you had like 10 chairs and you had 306 people playing the game and you're like, okay, let's play the music. Dun, 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 stop. It's chaos for those 10 chairs.
You remember how we did those portal stats about a month ago?
Yeah.
And the NCAA was bragging because they only had 2,300 players left in the portal. So you're telling me there's 4,000 players going to be like, immediate eligibility, tried to tell y'all. And it's like, I feel bad. I feel bad in one sense because I'm laughing because there's a kid that's going to lose his spot. I don't feel bad in one sense because I've been saying the shit for 5 years since the idea came up in the spring of 2018. Been saying this was coming. I said it was going to take 5 years to figure out that you had a problem, NCAA. 5 years. What's 5 years from the spring of 2018?
Now.
Oh, okay. And it's going to take you 5 years to fix it. You're at the peak of what's a shit show. And it pisses me off.
It's really the beginning of the shit show.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the peak of the shit show. Because
right.
I told them it'd take 5 years to figure out you had a problem. Now, they tried to trick me with this little COVID year. And that's thrown in a whole nother set of issues. Like, remember, Jeff Traylor was talking about with COVID and the issues and everything like that. But you tell them because they've never broken a huddle, they have never built a roster, they have never signed a kid, they've never recruited a kid, and they come up with these great rules, man. These great rules. And they don't realize that, wait a minute, the numbers just don't make sense, boss. And the next problem that's going to occur, by the way, I told them this too. The next problem this is the next one that's going to happen, all right, is what happens when the portal numbers run, you got all these kids in the portal. Well, if you're not signing high school kids to add to the portal, it's going to go away, and there's going to be this massive rush, okay, on high school kids because there's nobody left in the portal. And you're going to sign a lot of kids that probably aren't good enough. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to get their ass cut and put in the portal. So you're just going to continue the cycle. It's just going to keep cycling, and there's no end of the cycle. And they just don't understand it, and it really just it's frustrating because for everybody in the business, it's common fucking sense. It really is.
I know. I feel bad for a lot of the coaches in the business. I feel really bad for a lot of the kids because a lot of the kids are they're like we were as kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just dumb kids, and I mean that in a lovable way. All 19-year-old boys are stupid. Okay,
yeah.
We just are.
I was one of them.
Yeah. Some are fortunate to have support systems.
Yep.
And some are unfortunate and don't. And you get some bad advice, and then. And I'm criticizing our generation, not the kids.
Yep.
If you don't ever kind of force your kids to work through tough times, you enable.
Preach.
The first time something gets tough, and usually in college football, it gets tough for freshmen.
Quick.
For freshmen, it gets tough pretty quick. And sometimes the coaches are jerks and assholes, and they deserve for the kids to leave them. But most of the time, it's a little bit of tough love. And if they would just get through it, it's the growth.
Yep.
But this is this option that they go, I'm out. I hate Coach Siskey. He's an asshole. He's mean to me. I don't think he likes me. I'm not playing. I didn't play in the game against Troy. I'm not going to play this week against South Alabama. Coach Siskey thinks I suck. He's an asshole. I'm leaving.
That wouldn't be wrong.
But they get in the portal.
Yep.
And when you can get in the portal and you can, in your mind, hey, it's like AAU basketball. One of the flaws with AAU basketball is
just one of them.
But this is the big one.
Okay.
Is a kid doesn't like his coach, he just switched to a new AAU team.
Yep.
Hey, doesn't like that one, new AAU team. Hey, I'll go play for this AAU. There's no continuity, and you get that. Oh, hey, this half season didn't work. I'm in the portal. We've talked about this before. The problem with the immediate eligibility is in the old days, you could still transfer. I mean, I could say, hey, I'm at Troy. And John, I'm just picking on your school for a minute. It's all good. And I'm not happy. And guess what? They want me at FAU. Want me enough to take me and put me on scholarship, and I got to sit a year. So I'm going to go.
Yep.
Cool. Peace. It's all good. And there were guys that did that, and it worked,
Yes.
and it was fine. But there is a middle ground, and the middle ground is grad transfer.
Yeah.
The middle ground is, hey, go to school, do your work. You can graduate now the way that the schedules are done. You can graduate in 3 years.
Easy.
And if you graduate,
that's your free agency card.
That's your free agency card. You leave your grad transfer. You were at Troy for 3 seasons. Sorry, John. And you transfer, and you can play next season at Auburn.
Ain't no doubt.
I mean, and you can still do pay for play all along, but that would control some of the pay for play market. Because 100%. The reason that the market's insane right now is that guys, and I'm not picking on anybody, I'm being careful here. In all 3 major sports, including baseball, it's happening in baseball now. Wait till that goes down. People are going to be shocked. But football, men's basketball, the money in the transfer market for average players is silly.
It's scary. Well, that's why you're seeing all these guys you're like, oh, who the hell is that guy? Well, hell, that guy's going here to visit. He's going to get, maybe he's getting $50,000 at one school. He's going to get $100,000 at another school. Whatever it is, the market's stupid. Do want to say this, though. I said 48 hours on that. That does not include grad transfers. Grad transfers can roll. So if you got, I'm trying to think of a situation. Well, shit, I guess you got it here. If one of the 2 quarterbacks didn't want to be here and one of them graduated or whatever, here's between Sanders and Dart. I don't know their graduation situation.
I don't either.
But they could leave and go.
So if you graduated, say you finished your degree in July,
you
could get in the portal and play immediately in August. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that.
But not SEC to SEC.
Yes.
Okay.
Grad transfer kind of waives everything. Does that make sense?
It does.
So that's that will be interesting there.
All right, so let's talk about somebody who is.
Let's talk about.
He's in the news. Deion Sanders, very much in the news in the last few days.
Yep.
I'm reading from your notes. I'm taking your. I'm giving. This is per TylerSiskey.com. 63 of the 83 scholarship players from Colorado's 2022 team have moved on.
That is correct. So he's down to 20 scholarship players left from last year's team. And they got, and I got, was it Max Olson, I think, wrote a really good article in The Athletic.
I haven't read it.
This was I don't know, one day late last week. And he broke down all of the positions and how many guys are left and all that stuff. Like every single receiver from last year's team gone, all 10 of them out, down to 1 quarterback, right? And but in the nutshell, was down to 20 scholarships, okay? And everybody's like, oh, Deion will just solve it with a portal. Yeah, obviously that's what he's going to have to do. But there's some problems with this, right? And this is the things I wanted to bring to hit. This is going to be one of the most interesting roster rebuilds this year. I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
I just don't, with the current rules in place, I don't know how he does it. And what I mean by that is this. All right. Problem 1 is this. When you bring in a transfer, all right, so he goes and gets DeMoy Kennedy, which he's getting from Alabama,
okay,
a linebacker.
Yep.
He goes and gets him. Let's say DeMoy Kennedy's a good player, all that stuff.
Okay.
But he's stuck with his scholarship until his eligibility runs out.
Right.
So let's call him the greatest evaluator that ever lived. Okay. Let's say he hits on 50% of his players.
Okay.
Well, he's got to replace, what is that? He's got to replace 65 scholarships. He's down to 20.
65, yeah.
Let's call him the greatest evaluator that ever lived.
Let's say he hits 35 out of 65.
So he's got 30 deadweight scholarships.
It's a ton.
How many scholarship, do you remember how bad it was in 2012 when we got here?
Mm-hmm.
We were playing with 53 scholarship players.
Yep.
You cannot function with that few of scholarship players that are.
You guys got through the 2012 season at Ole Miss with 5 offensive linemen. You were always 1 offensive lineman away from total chaos. And you were 2 offensive linemen away from they have no chance.
Our best running back was a quarterback the year before.
But you had 5 offensive linemen.
Dude,
I mean,
we had 1.5 SEC football players on
you
that team.
you went out and landed Pierce Burton from a JUCO.
I talked with Pierce not too long ago, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah.
And Pierce, 2 things. You got fortunate because a lot of times the JUCO guys need a year for acclimation.
He would have needed a year, a normal circumstance, but instead he was our he was our best
starting
player.
right tackle. And he played like you guys, was it like Aaron Morris and Aaron was later.
We had Aaron. No, he was on that team.
Justin Bell.
Justin Bell. We had Jared Duke, who listens to our show.
Yeah.
Jared Duke was on that team.
You had just these guys, and there was like, if anybody goes
Evan
down.
Swindle.
Yeah, Evan Swindle was,
center.
I mean, turned out to be incredibly valuable. I mean, if anybody goes down, just, hey, I mean.
Aaron Morris was our left tackle, I think, right?
That sounds right.
I don't remember. Fans are going to be like, how do you not know? I can't remember.
But you just didn't have anybody.
It was insane.
Had anyone, like, if Pierce Burton had torn his ACL in week 5, and I'm glad, Pierce, that it didn't happen, buddy. It was all
Yeah,
good.
Me too.
But had he, you were going to have to move a defensive lineman.
Yeah, we were bad. It
was bad.
We were joking. So me and Matt Luke would joke. He's the offensive line coach. I said, hey, dude, just get him, snap the ball, and get him out of the way. What people don't realize is this was what was amazing. I think we averaged like 220 yards a game rushing that year. And that was part of my deal when I got accused of binoculars and shit the next year. When you broke down, I'm at Alabama, so we had the whole 12, which I was part of the staff in the first 3 games before we played them. I remember doing the breakdown on them. And we had, Ole Miss had from 2012, 2012, shit, I don't remember. 2012 season and the first 3 games of the 13 season, Ole Miss had 39 explosive runs, and that's a run of over 12 yards, okay, which is how we defined it. 38 of the 39 runs were outside the tackles. So we were doing a lot of what we call sucker. We suckered people to death, which that's when you tell your offensive line to go left and you hand the ball off going to the right.
Right.
So the defenses were so gap oriented that their guy goes, they would move. And so like we literally did not block anybody. But we suckered people to death. We ran a lot of read zone where Bo would pull the run or whatever. Like Bo had a long run against LSU to where it was just him and one person in space. We were basically getting our 5 offensive linemen and moving them out of the way.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
And the one run, which this is really going to blow your mind. The one explosive run that we had that was between the tackles was against Aaron Donald against Pitt in the bowl game, because Pitt, we felt really good about it. Because Pitt that year, they played the same 4 defensive linemen the entire game. They never subbed. And so our whole strategy that game is we were just tempo. And I think at one time we ran the same play like 14 straight times in tempo with different options off of it. And Atavius Mathers, I think so it was. We broke like a 60-yard. They were so gassed.
Yeah.
We just blew one right up to like 60 yards for a touchdown in the bowl game. That was the long run. So flash forward, when I got to Alabama, they had the same, basically the same offensive lineman. So it's like, look, we basically played a man short in a box. So they're not going to be able to, our X's are better than their O's.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep the game in the box. We put an extra guy on the perimeter to keep them from, pulling, made them hand off read zone to where our 5 were better than their 5. Just kept the game in the box. And that's why you couldn't run the football.
Yeah.
But, and then obviously getting offensive lineman, Larry Tunsil comes around and they were able to do some things. But yeah, that was fun. But here's the problem. All right. So you're stuck with them. You got these wasted scholarships. Here's 2 is like, he can bring in, and he's going to bring in some of these one and dones, right? So like guys, but guess what? Now you got the same problem next year. You got to get another huge number to replace. And it's just not fathomable to replace that. It's, I don't know how you bring in that many kids to sign them.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, that's what the very last thing I put.
That's the bottom line. Is it's a model that makes no sense.
All right, well, let's do a little math problem.
Because look, here's the thing in college football. In college football, there simply must be, like, I think you can kind of do this in college basketball. You see lots of examples of it, right? Where you can recycle a 13-man roster.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Because, and in a 13-man roster, I mean, on a good team, 10 guys play, right? And on most teams, it's 8 guys play, 9 guys play. You can recycle 7 or 8 new guys a year with a transfer portal. It's not fun, and it's a little hit or miss. But if you're a good development coach, if you are a good basketball coach and you have a pretty good ability to build a team and for a team to build as the season goes on, you can work it out. Right? You got a point guard who can distribute, get a couple of guys on the wings who can shoot, a couple of bigs, get somebody who's a good screen setter and a good rim protector, and you can kind of replace those pieces year over year.
Correct.
You can't do it like that in football, Tyler. There has to be some development.
You ain't got to tell me.
You can't go get, and this isn't me saying basketball, they're just different sports. Football, you got to develop an offensive line. It takes time. Typically takes years. You got to develop depth defensively. The systems are more complicated.
Faster.
Yeah, you can install a basketball scheme in the course of an offseason and kind of teach it. Because it's basketball. I mean, you can do some different things. You can have some different pick and roll coverages. You can have different, hey, we're gonna drop on defense here. We're gonna switch here. We're not gonna switch here because this is a mismatch. You can hunt mismatches. There's whatever. You get my point.
Yep.
Football's just a lot different. I just don't think you can say, hey, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring in 60 new dudes every year.
That's gonna be hard.
All right, understand that. Yeah, is there a chance that one year it's magical and you hit? Sure.
But at what rate does he have to hit? That's my question.
For it to have a magical year? 2/3.
And maybe, look, they were 1-11 last year, right?
Yeah, they'll be better.
So, I mean, maybe it looks, but I don't know.
But what happens? Okay, so I keep asking this in football. What happens in football when you bring a bunch of guys, multi-year guys in, and NIL's the big part of it, pay for play, and you got Dion talking about his Louis and all that. And then you start the season 1-2. Happens.
Yeah.
Those guys, they've never been together. They don't have any bonds.
No.
And it's not like a basketball season where you're going to play 40 games. You can lose some basketball games. You know that going in as a coach. Hell, I know college basketball coaches that are like, oh, this is one I hope we lose. I hate losing, but I kind of hope we lose.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna have a team building experience out of it, right? It's not like that in this.
No.
In football, you lose a couple of games and you're out of the playoff picture. And so all of a sudden, guys are like, what am I? I don't have any connection to this place. I don't have any connection to this. Don't tell me to play for the guy next to me. I don't even know where's he from. Where was he last year? Rutgers.
Yeah.
What difference is it? I don't think, and I know I sound like an old man yelling at cloud, except for the fact that I don't really think I act and live like old man yelling at cloud. So I kind of feel like
you ran a 10K.
I kind of feel like I'm right here. I don't think what they're doing in football is sustainable. I think what they're doing in basketball, you could probably make it work. In baseball, sure, you can go get a couple pitchers. You still need to develop some stuff, but there's ways around that you can use. You can use the portal as a scab, as a Band-Aid. In football,
Well, it's the one sport, unless you're playing quarterback. Let's take quarterback out. Quarterback's the one position in football that, dude, you got a dude, you're going to win games. You know what I mean? Like, you're always going to have a chance.
Yeah.
But that's it. In basketball, you got one dude, you can win a lot of games.
Yeah.
In baseball, you got one dude, a pitcher, you can win every time he pitches. You're going to be in the game.
Sure.
All right. Football is not, unless it's quarterback, it's not that way. But let's do a little math problem. Nobody wants to explain this to me. He's got to replace 65 guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how many visits you get a year? 56. So we're going to tell 9 guys we're signing you can't come on an official visit?
Yes.
And are we going to hit 100% on the guys that we're bringing on official visits?
No.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
of course.
There's a math problem.
It's messed up.
I mean, there's a major math problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the visit number, last week or whatever it was. But, like, if you only get 56 visits a year, now here's the other thing. He's got to do all this before August.
Right.
Well, guess what? Guess where he has to count those visits in December? Like, he's going to bring. You're saying he's not going to recruit any high school kids this year? But he can't. He's not going to have any visits left.
Yeah.
Like, how is that working? Because you can't.
I know.
And it's not like, hey, you're not located in Atlanta where you can say, hey, hey, little Johnny from Birmingham, drive over for your hey,
Right.
this is going to be an unofficial official.
Yeah.
Dude, you're in Boulder, Colorado. There's one way in and one way out.
The kid from Spring, Texas, it's a hell of a haul to get to Boulder.
Your ass is on a plane.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to talk a kid drive over from Birmingham to come unofficial official than it is, hey, you got to get in a plane. You got to fly and come see us because we don't have any more visits left. All right. The other thing is this. The guy, NIL, and everybody that's in the good players that are in there, they're competing against other schools.
Sammy's right. So schools will just pass the cost to their donors, season ticket holders, and only when that avenue dries up will there be a correction. I think he's right. And this is where the football thing, I'm really interested in, and I think you're right. I think we're just you said we're at the peak of the shit show.
I think the tip of the shit show as well.
I think we're at the beginning of the hill that is the shit show.
Yeah.
What happens when these rosters that the fans don't know? Right?
Yeah.
Fans don't know the rosters. This is a sport that is built on familiarity. Has been in the past. You know, you went to see A.J. McCarron was at Alabama for 5 years. Kind of that kind of thing. There's examples of that, but it's getting less and less. You went to watch a guy and you saw a guy develop, right? You saw, hey, we signed this kid out of high school. He went to, Tullahoma High School, and we got him, and he redshirted his first year, and then he was on some special teams, and then those days are kind of over.
Gone.
And that's what sort of built the loyalty. So what happens when you have rosters full of players that the fans don't know, and the team gets off to a bad start? The fans don't have any buy-in other than the laundry.
No,
and I don't know. I'm not trying to be the guy that's like a doomsday guy, but I kind of look at it and go, does that really? I remember as a little kid growing up in Ruston, there were players that played at Tech we went to the Tech games. We had season tickets my dad was a professor at Tech, and we would go to the Tech games. And I remember watching Matt Dunnigan play quarterback year over year, and there were guys on that Tech team that I remember playing, and you saw them kind of play over the years, and I was starting to get into it, and so I would watch guys, and I was like, I want to be like him. And that's a pretty common thing, right? All the little kids that come to the Ole Miss games and go out into the Grove afterwards wearing the same jersey number, it's not because that's a popular number, it's because that's the player. Yeah. They want to be like Jackson Dart or Quinshawn Judkins or whoever, right? I think you gotta. I think taking away roster continuity is a mistake.
Well, it's like this, and we probably got some of them in the stream. There are a gazillion football fans that are college football fans that aren't NFL fans, and I think that's the difference. The college football fan is all about, hey, it's the school. I'm pulling for my school. I got the continuity. I know I'm going to be able to go see him year after year after year after year. I'm going to be able to follow this guy for a long time. As opposed to the NFL, it's just transactional, and you're pulling for your team. It's like you don't pull. Does that make sense?
Like, but there's a reason that in these collective bargaining agreements, they're written to make it where a player can stay with a team for a long period of time at the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
It's because a franchise knows that fans want to cheer for people.
Yep. There's franchise tags, so you don't lose somebody to money.
Yeah, I think about that. I think about Major League Baseball, right?
Yeah.
The arbitration year, all that stuff, the contracts, the Braves. Look at what the Braves are doing. It's not just baseball that they're doing when they're signing all of these young guys to long-term deals. We can market around these guys. The fans will keep coming because they get to see Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna and the different guys. I'm drawing blanks, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Max Fried.
Yeah. Strider.
They know those guys are going to be there. So when Dad takes little Johnny to the ballpark, hey, we're going to get to go see. You know who you're going to see. It's not just random dudes wearing the Braves uniform, because that wouldn't work over time.
No.
Hey, Dad, who's at shortstop? I don't know. Some dude.
Yeah. And
that wouldn't work. That's why like minor league baseball doesn't. They don't market the players. They market, hey, it's Budweiser night. Hey, it's they have to have marketing deals. because you don't know who the hell the players are because they're just coming in and out. They're just part of an organization.
Very similar.
They're only there because that's where the Padres sent them.
That's a good point.
The Gwinnett Braves market a completely different way than the Atlanta Braves do. Why? Because the Gwinnett Braves don't really have any control over who they've got. Does that make sense?
No, it makes 100% sense.
And so you got to be careful at college athletics becoming a minor league team. You got to be super careful about it. There's got to be something more to it than that.
All right, let me ask you this.
I talk about the Cubs a lot, but the Cubs are a good example. One of the reasons that the Cubs are kind of starting to get going again a little bit from a fan standpoint, attendance dropped off at Wrigley over the last few years, and it wasn't just because they were losing. It was because who are these people? You had the fans had gotten close to Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo and Javier Baez and John Lester and all those guys. And then suddenly, for whatever different reasons, all those guys are gone. Literally, all of them are gone. And last year, it's like, I don't know who these people are. Like, Seiya Suzuki, yeah, okay, you gave him a deal, but who's he? He was in Japan a year ago. Now, they extended Ian Happ, and they signed Dansby Swanson to a long-term deal, and they extended Nico Horner, and they've got Suzuki and Justin Steele's coming up from Loosedale, Mississippi, and looks like he's going to be a legitimate piece of their rotation. And only then can you get people to buy back in. It's the jersey thing. When fans come to your game and they don't know what jersey they'd buy, you're failing.
All right, that's where I was going with this next question. All right, let's use Ole Miss as an example because they've been I think they were third. I think they had 29 replacements. I think what I saw on that list.
Yeah, they've had a bunch.
Colorado's double.
Yeah.
It's the end of the year, and you're not having a great year.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing the players, how bad is that going to affect attendance?
Significantly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
I think
you go all in and you start portaling all these guys and you start changing 20, 30 names a year, and then you're not having now you're winning. It's all good.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you a good example. We'll stop on this one.
Yeah.
Last season, at the beginning of the year, I knew that Ole Miss was playing at Arkansas in November. I couldn't get a room. My room was in Bentonville. Okay. Arkansas was heavy portal.
Yeah.
A lot of turnover. And they lost a handful of games that their fans viewed as disappointments. So they were 5-5 going into the Ole Miss game. Is that right? Because that's
something
right. Because
like
they finished 6-6. They lost to Missouri. So yeah, they were 5-5. On the Wednesday of that week, on a whim, I just checked Hilton Honors. Not only there were lots of rooms available in Fayetteville that I couldn't have gotten. And that stadium was not full. They ended up with a pretty decent crowd or whatever. But the point, your point's a good one. If you, and it's like that anyway. But look, no one's going to come out and go, hey, you know what? We got to go to senior night because these guys have been with us forever. They're not going to senior night if 3/4 of senior night is. I have no idea who that is. Who? I mean, that's starting to happen, and we're just at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's that system. If you win and you win big,
yeah, it's all good.
Winning's good. Yeah. Everybody loves winning.
Nobody cares.
If you win,
it'll be packed.
The Grove's packed, the stadium's packed, whatever Tiger Walk or Bulldog Trot or whatever the hell, packed. Don't win, and there's no emotional tie to it. There's no, you know what, I'm gonna go cheer for those kids because they've busted their ass for my team for 4 years. I'm gonna go cheer for those kids.
Yeah, that I think you're going to see this year. That's something we need to pay attention to this year because they all can't win, right? So
of course,
and everybody's going portal heavy.
Yeah.
All right.
Not everybody doing the portal is going to win, and so when those teams don't, I want to see what happens inside their teams.
Yeah.
And with their attendance.
We need to look at that.
Yep, we will.
All right.
All right, we've been brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429. We've been brought to you again by Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. For Tyler Siskey, I'm Neal McCready. We'll be back with you guys on Thursday. Until then, take care.